The history of film is littered with keystone films that change a genre or create a new one. The goal of this show is to explore those movies and the legacy they leave in their wake. Our first submission is the 1993 classic, Groundhog Day. Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Keystone Copycats with Chris and Zach. I am your host, Zach, and he, of course, is your other host,
Other Zach.
Oh,
Also known as Other Zach.
fascinating. Wow, we're getting weird right off the bat. Have we done an episode yet where we didn't get weird right off the bat?
No, I was going to say, every single time you're like, well, we're off the rails right now.
Well, it's true.
Can we discuss something?
I would love to discuss something for
We have
once.
new equipment.
We have new gear.
This is so exciting.
It's very exciting. I'm going to give you all a little peek behind the curtain real quick. Last week's episode, we tried something different, and it did not work.
Yeah, there was a blizzard, so we had to record separately. Whereas
Yeah,
Zach,
via phone.
Yeah, Zach was at his hizzle, and I was at my hizzle, and I was on a phone call.
A phone
And
hizzle.
So we recorded, an hour and 10, hour and
Yeah,
20?
yeah, we had
and
like a-
it was gone.
Something happened with one of the files. No one knows. It's a mystery. I'm announcing today that we are going to convene a 9/11 style commission
Oh.
to research it and see what happened with that file.
Zach's getting political.
You know,
After I was acquitted.
oh geez, it's another peek behind the curtain. My co-host is a former president. I won't say which one.
I do talk with my hands an awful lot. Okay, let's get back on track. Now we're really off the rails.
Yeah, now we are really off the rails. 2 minutes into the show. It's great stuff. So this week we are doing Happy Death Day to You from 2019, the sequel.
I
to
did
Happy
not
Death
know
Day.
it was Happy Death Day to You because we
To
kept
you.
calling it Happy Death Day 2. So when I saw it, I'm like, oh, this must be the third one.
That would be the most annoying thing ever if they were like, the first one's called Happy Death Day, second one Happy Death Day 2, third one Happy Death Day to You.
So because I'm such in the habit of writing off everything that I do, like from here on out, because this is my first year of owning my own company, I saw I saw Happy Death Day to You, and I was like, $3.99. I have to rent it.
Sure.
Each movie we do, and I'm like, I wonder if I could write this off some. Because I've literally this is the 9th episode, and what 7 out of 9 I've had to rent. So
Yeah, I was telling my wife that last night as I was renting this movie, and she was like, wait a minute, what?
yeah,
How much you spend? I was like, they're like $3 a piece. It's not a big deal.
Yeah,
She was like,
but
okay.
But yeah, like it would make more sense if we rent them together. We'd save so much money, but not really, because then we'd have to drive to the other one's house.
No, what we would do is we would get, you know what? We're stupid. And
Well,
I
you're
blame
stupid.
me mostly.
That's what I just said.
What we should have done. Actually, did you rent Time Crimes?
No, that might have been the one that was on something
I mean,
for free.
50 First Dates was on Netflix, and
Yeah.
Palm Springs is on Hulu.
Okay, so those are the two.
And Time Crimes, I told you before we watched it that it was on an app called Canopy that is free.
I rented that.
If you have a library card, it's a free app, and
I
there's a lot of really
I
good
don't know
movies on
where
it.
it is or how to get to it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it's really something.
Okay.
Anywho, so what we could have done the whole time is we could have just used each other's Apple login, because that's where I rented mine, is through Apple TV.
Wow, no one cares about this conversation.
No, I'm just like having it with
even
you.
me. Like
I'm
even
just
looking
having
at you,
it
I'm
with
like,
you.
I wish I hadn't brought this up. So sorry, everybody.
Oh,
So anyway, happy
boy.
Death Day to you.
To you.
This one is
Oh yeah, give us a little breakdown.
it's the second movie, and this
thought it was the
time
third.
Tree's in another time loop. Only this one launches into a parallel timeline.
Yeah.
So it's the second movie. However, it starts off like it's going to be about Ryan, the guy who.
Yeah, that was a good misdirect. The first time I watched it,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know if I want to follow
Yeah.
the fine vagina guy.
Yeah. So he busts in, and then you find out that she gets sucked back into the loop in another dimension, which is
It was pretty
It
interesting.
sounds kind of silly, but no, like this.
It's really
Can
good.
I say something? This one's better than the first.
It
Like,
really is. It really is. I told you.
Yeah.
And this is what like Nick told me too when he saw it. Like he was like, I know you were interested in the first one. I just saw the second one. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
this-
did.
I mean, can we jump ahead? And one of my notes is this thing is bonkers, and I'll allow it.
That's a good note.
It gets real fun. So at first it's kind of like okay, so we're seeing it again, the same parallel story where it's just the regular time loop through Ryan, who apparently
Some sort of scientific genius.
yeah. I mean, I don't
Not just
know
the
how to-
guy that pops into a dorm room, but like
So
he's
this
doing,
is
like
this is the guy the Asian guy that walks in and goes, did you get some of that fine vagina? And you're like, oh, he's just
Oh,
a
gross.
throwaway
This
character.
guy sucks.
But apparently, even at the end of this movie, like the government, did you watch
Mm-hmm.
half the movie?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna make sure that you saw that part.
Yeah, no, yeah,
After the credit.
on accident I saw it because I just
Yeah,
left it
lucky.
on when I was doing whatever.
And then you heard something else was happening, and you were
yeah,
like, oh.
so like the government contracts them because they're like, this is great. So they're like, clearly they're gonna make a third one too.
It was announced right after it came out, but obviously it came out in 2019, and then COVID happened. So like, I don't know that any production has happened so far, unfortunately.
Well, I mean,
I was hoping to get it this
maybe,
year. That
Maybe
would've been
let's
cool,
not
but-
jump ahead and let's just take it from the beginning.
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
movie.
Let's get in.
The beginning of the movie, he goes, "No speak English,"
Yes,
which
that
is
was
my
funny.
first note.
That was
where it comes in like the first day with Tree,
Well-
where she wakes up and like it's how he gets to the room kind of thing.
Yeah.
ish.
Well,
right?
what's okay? So I'm gonna say
It's the day after.
first.
I guess? I don't know.
Yes. So first, I want to mention I like the opening bit. So with the logo, the studio logo.
They skip it again.
Except it's different because it splits into different dimensions. It's like
It's a prelude. I'm
Which is
sorry, not
cool.
a not a
It's
prelude.
a- it's
little
a-
teaser. Right?
yeah, it's foreshadowing.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's fun. I really like that one. I like the first one where it did the kind of skip.
We
and
made
repeat
the
kind of
comment the
thing.
first time. We're like,
I
oh,
really
that was
like it.
kind of fun with the
I really
Universal,
like how
and
they
now
play with it.
they did it again, and they separate. I'm gonna stop. This is a good fucking movie,
This is a
dude.
really
I'm
good
really
movie.
excited about this one.
What's really funny though is like I kind of like threatened you with doing this movie like since we did the first one. I've been like, we're gonna do it, and you're like, I don't know, and like I'm really happy that you liked it so much.
No, man, I'm gonna watch the first one again after this shit.
The first
I think
one
I'll
is good.
I'll think I'll like it
Dude,
again.
After I watched the second one, like when I did the second viewing of the first one for this show, I was like, this is a great movie. I really like it. What did I have?
So anyway, the start
no,
of the day, he does the run through. He kind of sees the same characters that Tree does the first day. Like there's a woman, I can't remember the first. Oh no, there's a dog who yaps at him,
Yeah.
and then a homeless guy who apparently just jumps out from
He's
behind
hiding
a
in a
bush.
bush, which
he's
was
like,
so
"Give me some
weird.
money." Yeah, that part I was like, okay, this is the thing we talked about with you watch the first day, like, okay, what's gonna
Yep,
be
yep.
the symmetry?
So I did mention Ryan has a lot of strange interactions on his first day run through, which, by the way, is very short before he dies.
However,
he dies very early, but like all those interactions, like if you had 2 of those interactions in one day, you'd be like, oh man, crazy shit happened to me today. And he has like 8 in a row that are like all very noticeable.
It
Like
really lines up for the movie, the premise of the
yeah,
movie, though.
they're like,
it's
let's
far-fetched.
cram in everything we can, you know?
This is a straight up this one from like Happy Death Day was kind of like a horror comedy.
Yeah.
This is just a comedy.
Sci-fi.
I wouldn't even say
Sci-fi
sci-fi.
comedy.
This is just a fucking comedy, dude.
It's great. It's
All
great.
in
I
all.
really loved it.
So the third one is I can't remember who else he sees, but then the fourth one, like some woman's like, stop global warming, which is from from the first
She
one.
was out there the
and it
previous
goes,
day.
no, speak English, and you're just like, did the
Oh,
writers think that
boy.
was gonna land really well?
Oh,
Because
boy.
immediately I went, ooh, too much. Like, no. Because here's the thing, he's not. How do I want to say this? He's not like a standard Asian guy. He's got bleach blonde hair. Like, he's not.
Yeah, he's
very
he's over the top
Americanized.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. Okay, so when he goes in like the dorm room hall, and that kid is playing the trombone, and the guy comes out and yells "shut up" at him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, Ryan says it the first time. The first time Ryan goes through the day, he yells "shut up."
No, he doesn't. The guy comes out of his dorm and yells at him. It's
That
the same guy every
happens.
time.
Okay, $5.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
but
Because
here's,
I thought it was Ryan the first time.
no, but here's my question. When skipping ahead a little bit, when they split
You
into
really couldn't swallow there for a second.
when they split over into the other dimension, and Tree is reliving her birthday again. She gets knocked back into her own loop in this other dimension.
Mm-hmm.
At a certain point, when we know Ryan is coming and she already knows and has to get with him, we hear faintly in the background, and I don't know if you heard this, but we hear the guy yelling "shut up" at the trombone.
I did not.
But it's a different day. It's not the same day.
First off,
That's why I was so
I
confused.
would not stand by this because I have so much to fight with you about later on about how this does not follow the appropriate code. So don't worry about that. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay.
I mean,
because this shit breaks.
It is a different
In
dimension.
Fact, this backs. Zach, you have no idea how good I'm gonna launch into you because this backs everything I've ever wanted to ask about the physical traits of the time loop. That's going to carry on over.
I know.
And,
I have a note about it. I know. I have a note
and
about
you know
it.
what's coming. Like, you know what's coming.
You know what's funny is I was telling Brian that
Brian from your band?
Brian from my band Watterson. I was telling
That's
him
a good band.
that
Are you in it?
I am in it. I
good.
play the bass. I was telling him that one of our songs, the like seed of that idea that I had written, actually was our opening theme song that I had originally like composed for a short film that we did together, and like the riff.
What film?
It's called "But Not Forgotten." It is
Nice.
not available anywhere
Nice.
because I did a bad job. But anyways,
No,
so
you
I was
didn't.
telling
We
him
all
that,
did.
and I was like, I don't have like the file of just that song to send. I was like, I'm just gonna send you an episode. And he was like, oh, you guys gonna do Palm Springs? And I was like, yeah, I'll send you that one. And he texted me the other day because he like was like, oh, I'm gonna listen to it today, and he immediately texted me and said mental STD, and I was like, yes. I loved it. So
makes sense.
he appreciated your comment for sure.
Makes sense.
Now,
Now,
did you notice that he has an annoying ringtone also?
oh yeah, like that.
That was
Yeah,
bad.
of course. But so I mean, just by the description of the movie, like you kind of get an idea where it's about to go. But you know, Ryan like walks away. He interrupts Tree and Carter, and they kick him out of his dorm room, and he goes down to the quantum mechanics room.
His lab.
But I just love that as soon as you see quantum mechanics, you're like, oh, some weird fucking
This
time
is
loop
nuts.
travel
This
shit
is nuts.
is gonna happen, and you're like, you know what? They're college students, but sure, we'll allow it.
Well, no, but that's what I was saying. Is he's like doing this like PhD level
No,
work and living in the dorm still.
Yeah.
What
No.
college do you live at a dorm when you're a
here-
postgraduate? Like, I
here's-
don't get that.
Wait, but he's not,
Is he a genius? Like,
Yeah.
is he like
He
super
is.
advanced?
and he just happens to dye his hair like that. But I would
Natural.
like to write a movie where there's a spot where someone walks into a quantum mechanics room and nothing happens.
It just happens to be like where like a relationship drama takes
it's-
place.
Yeah, like
It's just like they fight
like
over
they
like
have to go like there's a big a big build up, and the janitor walks in like, you'll see, I'll show everyone, and he walks in the quantum mechanics room because that's where the mop bucket was, and he grabs it, and there's like a loose wire behind him like zapping, and then he walks out and like gets on his radio like,
nothing
hey,
happens?
there's a loose wire in there, you should fix it, and they do, and then he like carries on.
Jesus. You're like, oh, I want to see a movie that is real life. You want like
Yeah,
a
that's
Dogma 95 movie.
Correct. I didn't like that quantum mechanic meant there's going to be like something based around this room where I would be like, what if we didn't?
Sure. So when he goes and then the dean bursts in to like shut him down,
Yeah.
that's when I knew it was a comedy. Because of the
Yeah.
dean. He's like the most like over the top
And he gets
cliche
he gets better.
dean.
And he gets
He's
better.
so good. I love that guy. I like looked that guy up like, oh, have I seen him anywhere? And I'm like, nope, haven't. But he's really funny in this, and I would like to see him in more things.
I concur. So how do we want to deliver this? So the Ryan Day. So basically, what happens is you start this movie out thinking that Ryan's the protagonist. So he comes
It's a good
in,
misdirect for
and
sure.
then like he goes through his day, and just like Happy Death Day, the first one, he gets he goes throughout his day, and he gets killed by the masked baby thing, and then he wakes up and he runs in and goes, oh my God, I'm reliving the same day, and he runs in and finds
he says
Tree.
deja vu. And she
And
freaks
runs
out.
in, and Tree goes, obviously, and this was kind of really cool. This was kind of like Palm Springs, where you have someone else that knows what's going on. So
But
he
also
runs in
in a
and
way
goes,
like Edge of Tomorrow.
yeah, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
It's both. I mean,
So-
it's great.
So he runs in and goes, I'm having deja vu. And she goes, did it happen again? Where did you die? And he goes, oh, I died here. So Tree
And then,
is
and then she
automatically...
goes, oh, I'm still in a dream, and tries
Yeah.
to lay back down.
So it's
funny.
no. So it's really cool because you have someone on the inside, ready to direct the story. Past that point, I kind of forget what happens before.
I do want to mention in his first day before he gets murdered. So he goes to the lab, and then the dean shows up, and his friends, his like lab partner, like people he's working on the project with, are like, we're going to the cafeteria, churro day, meh, meh, meh," and they run off and leave him with the dean. And then the dean's like, I want this out of here. Like he does the big dean thing.
Yeah, we didn't
So
explain what it
then-
is. It's the machine that
Yeah.
causes the
That caused the time loop. That
yeah.
caused the first movie. Where,
Yeah.
like in that first episode, the original Happy Death Day episode, I talked about how in this movie there is an explanation for the time loop.
It looks like one of those balls that where you can like pull the sides and it expands. You know what I'm saying? Like it looks like one of
it
those,
does
like a
look
metallic version of that.
So he's in there alone, and he gets a text of a photo of himself standing there. So he goes out to look, and is like, "That's weird." And then he gets another
Still don't
photo
get
of
that.
himself
Still don't get
from down the hall. And here's what I said: like, if you just received like a super creepy photo of yourself, would you try to go to the place that it came from? Like, would you do that?
I didn't take a note because I knew you wouldn't want me to comment on this. So I'm debating on if I should even say anything because I was gonna write down, and it was my first note. Besides, after no speak English,
Oh, boy.
my second note was, wouldn't you jerk off at yourself if you knew that yourself was watching yourself?
But he didn't know it was himself.
Well, but if anyone's taking pictures of me and they're like, ha ha ha, I'm like, well, take this. Like
That is not a reasonable response.
that was my second
in
note.
any way.
And I didn't write it down.
that is
So
not
this
a
is
reasonable
your
response.
fault for bringing this up.
I did have a
Because
note
I would aim it
later.
at wherever I thought they were.
I did have a note later that I just want to say you're welcome for making you watch another movie where somebody says "fine vagina." Like I thought you would appreciate that for sure.
Okay, I gotta wait till to my other note.
Ooh, I have like a big question. Real quick. So we talked last week about how sometimes we're gonna do all our tropes at the end, and sometimes we're gonna do them as we go through.
I think we wait on these ones.
Oh, I don't think so. I think this
Oh,
is a
really?
go through. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because I have different answers, whether we're talking about Ryan or Tree or both.
I think we do Tree.
I did them on both.
I think it's only Tree.
Here's the thing, though. Second day uncertainty. Yes, on Ryan, for sure.
I'll allow it, but this is actually reversed of what we've done in the past. Palm Springs, when I got to pick all three and you picked the one.
Yeah.
I'm doing reverse. I'm only doing Tree.
You're only doing Tree.
Yep.
Okay, so I go yes. Actually, I have yes for both.
No. I
have
go
yes for
no
both.
for Tree because her first day she goes, I can't believe this shit. Second day she's all about it.
No, because here's the thing with her is when he shows up and says this is happening to me, oh shit, that sucks. But when she wakes up again, that's her second day uncertainty again of like, what?
She's not second day. She's pissed. Once again,
She's
this
mad.
is kind of like Palm Springs. She's pissed. And you had a good argument in that in Palm Springs where you said agitation is still confusion, which now looking back on after listening to that episode, I go, okay, he kind of had a point. This one, no, because she already knows what's going on. She's already been through this so many times.
But I still say Ryan has it, so I gave it to it.
Okay.
Do you want to just knock out trope number 1, 2 while we're at it? Because I think it's easy.
That's still no.
It's a no. It's a no because like I think she had her journey from cynical to sincere in the first movie.
Yeah,
and I think she got a lot of that stuff in the first movie.
A lot of this is out of the way already.
Yeah.
Which is still okay. Like I'm gonna tell you right now, this is gonna be the lowest ranking for me, but that's okay.
Man.
I still love the movie.
Not for me.
Still love the movie.
Not for me at all.
Still love the movie.
So yeah, I thought that was. I thought it was really interesting that we had like 2 options for it.
Now that we're into her time of this, I'm sorry. Well,
I have 2 more.
Maybe we're not.
So I have. I'm going to show you my notes here. As you can see, Ryan Tree. I have notes for. I have 2 more notes for Ryan. For
the audience's take, let's get back into the movie a little bit so they know where we're going with this. So what happens is that a Tree is trying to follow Ryan, and they're trying to figure out who the murderer is and like if he's going to get killed again. So they're tracking it, and I can't remember why, but they end up back in the quantum mechanics room, and something happens where he detonates. Oh, I know. The killer ends up being a clone of himself. And he says, don't.
It's not a clone. It's from another dimension where he split himself into the dimension. So I did have a note on this. So prior to that, like. He's like, oh, I'm going to die. So they decide to go to, Carter suggests they go to the most public place. So they go to a basketball game. Someone pulls a fire alarm and they have to go out. And he gets separated from them. And then the killer is in the crowd in the hallway and chases Ryan. And I noticed, like, I made a note of this because it was so strange. And I hope you noticed this too. When the killer chases him through, like, that
hallway,
the hallway and all those, like, behind the scenes kind of rooms. I don't know what to say, like what to call them, but like, you know what I mean? The physicality of the killer, the way he moves and walks is so strange and jerky. And then when the reveal, and it actually is a lot like how Laurie moved in the first movie. Like that killer was like, it was a very weird physicality that made it look like hard to tell who it was,
Well, I mean, that's the thing. The most stressful part about most horror movies is that people are very scared of humanoids, things that look human but aren't human.
Yeah.
Like, so if your eyes are distorted,
saw that baby,
or so if you walk funny, it's much more terrifying because it seems like it's human, but it's not. That's why the character Pennywise is so disturbing, because every time he moves, like he contorts his body in a way that's not real, and that's why it's so terrifying, because sometimes his arms bend backwards, or like he look like I don't know how to explain it, but
I get
it's something where it seems human but it's not, so you're always bothered by it.
Right. And I get that principle for sure of like why they would do it for the movie, but like if the killer is Ryan from another dimension, why would he make himself spooky instead of just trying to like be stealthy and kill this guy?
Because this is a comedy. That's why. No, I mean you could easily say because he was trying to scare himself, so he wanted to walk different.
I get it.
But all in all, it's to throw you off that it's him, even though they probably didn't need to do that. So anyway, they when they find out it's the clone, the Ryan, the other
dimension Ryan.
He goes back and says, "Oh, stop Ryan," and Ryan goes, "No, stop Ryan too," and whatever.
Yeah.
So he turns.
Kill him.
On the machine, and it basically blows up, or whatever happens, and it knocks everyone on their ass. Like the dean comes in
super slow mo, which I really liked.
That was really good.
There was a really fun payoff at the end when they come back there and the guy is like. My yoo-hoo.
Yeah, I know.
It's so good.
I know, but you're jumping way ahead for the audience.
That's true.
So basically, what starts the movie is really this sequence where it blows up, and then Tree is now sucked back into a time loop where she wakes up the next day just like in the first movie, only it's a parallel not
Dimension.
Yeah,
Universe,
I guess dimension.
whatever.
So she starts
she
her
doesn't realize
thing
that
over
yet.
again. So basically, it's like a reimagined first movie. So,
Which is great.
So we're back to Tree is the star.
She's
again.
being killed.
And now
again.
she's in a different universe where her mom's alive, and and she's not dating Carter. Carter is dating her friend. Is it Lily?
Danielle, who's such an asshole.
So everything's different, but Tree has to figure out how to get through the day again.
And who murdered her this time?
And and then my favorite part, one of my favorite lines is Tree says, I can't remember what they were talking about something, and her response is, "I have no idea who the killer was. I was such a crazy bitch at the time," which made me really happy. I did like that line where he goes, "Who's the killer?" He goes, "I don't know who it could be. I was such a crazy bitch then."
So,
but I also like that, she makes the comment about, oh, this is, the killer's now following you, like as in it's over with me. Now he's chasing you.
Yeah.
And I wrote down, it's a lot like It Follows, where it's just contagious.
what a good movie.
Right?
I love It Follows.
Now, I will say that's very, very underrated. Now, the first time I ever heard of a ghost STD, I laughed. And then you watch the movie and you're like,
This is haunting.
It creeps me out. I still can't watch. I won't watch it alone. But no, it's one of my top 2 horror films ever.
So I saw it in the theater. I wasn't sure how I felt about it immediately after seeing it, but I found myself talking about it 3 weeks later, still talking about it because it was so interesting and original.
I watched it the first time at a bar. I think you were there. It was a trivia night. And I was watching, and it was the end of it. And he's throwing toasters, and I go, what the fuck is this? And I go, oh, it's a ghost STD movie. I was like, this is weird. And then I watched it with, God, I can't remember who. I think it was with a lady. And I watched it, and it was like, oh, this is disturbing. It was one of those things where, like,
like, why did I watch this with a lady?
No. It's one of those things where, like, I watched it, and when, like, like, everything worked out, but I was just like, that the middle of the night, I'm like, you awake? Like, God, I'm scared.
Like after we saw The Fourth Kind,
yeah.
and then got scared of aliens.
It's like, how do I like if I can't remember who it was, but if it was our first date, it was definitely like she's not gonna call me again because I woke her up like, hey, I'm scared. Is this gonna make sense?
Oh, geez, I love that. All right. I got a question for you. Do you want to roll forward with the movie, or do you want to have a bit of a digression discussion about a theory?
Go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So in the first movie, Tree breaks the cycle by killing Laurie. So Laurie can't kill her, so she can't reset again.
Mm-hmm.
When she dies, does she just reset back to that day? Like her natural death in 50 years. She dies. She lives a life with Carter. Is she basically immortal now?
I don't know.
Because, like, why would killing the person who... If you know that this was created by science and not just some, like, magical realism time loop thing like Groundhog Day where, like, becoming a better person gets you out of the cycle, like, does this mean that she lives her whole life, dies, wakes up again on that birthday, and lives another whole life? Like, is she immortal?
No.
You don't like this, do you?
No, I don't because I don't...
But why not?
I don't know.
I thought I was
kind of
like,
don't want to get
holy
into
shit,
it.
This is fucking weird.
No, I don't like time loops. I don't like time anything. I don't like thinking about going back in time because it's very perplexing. And
you don't like Watchmen because you think it's about a clock.
I just don't fucking get it. Like, I can't figure it out ever. Like, I was literally watching this and thinking about, like, I watched, like, right before I watched this, I watched From Hell again, and I texted you about it.
That's a good
and
one.
I'm like, even as they're breaking down at the end, he goes, here's how we're doing it. I'm like, I'd be the shittiest detective because I'm like, I'm going to rewind this recap because I still don't quite get what the fuck he's talking about. This is the same thing with time loops. I'm like, wait, what? I just don't understand what's happening.
I love that. That's great. So you you don't think that she's immortal,
No.
or you just don't want her to
No,
be.
no, no.
So
I mean,
you
like
don't-
she's an immortal, as in if she stays in this universe. Yeah.
But I mean, like her universe.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
I mean, well, no, she's not immortal because she dies. So it's one of those.
But she
All right.
never actually dies.
But she does, and
Is
then
this
she comes
like a
back.
metaphor?
I don't like this. Let's move on. I don't want to do this anymore. I really can't do this.
All right. I do have another like philosophical thing to get
Just
to at the
fucking
end. But
knock
we'll
it
get
off,
there at
bro.
the end.
Let's just finish the goddamn.
No, we'll get there at the end though.
No, know what she says though in this movie? She goes, "Oh yeah, last movie." I mean, she doesn't say movie. Last movie, I died 11 times. I'm like, it seemed like she died way more.
I
than
thought
11
it was more
times.
than that, too.
It seemed like she died way more than 11 times.
Maybe she just didn't keep very good track.
Yeah,
you
she
know?
is.
Kind of dumb. Is that what you were
I
going
was
to
gonna,
say?
I was gonna say blonde, but I'm blonde, so like that's why I was.
Yeah,
gonna,
you
I was gonna be
are.
allowed to get away with it because she's stupid. No, when she comes back and she's like, "Oh my god," and wakes up in his bed, and in Carson's bed, and she's all confused. I was like, yes, we get another foot-long joke. I'm like, yes.
We didn't.
The gay,
When she
the
ran
gay guy.
When she ran into him, then she just yelled, "You're
You're
gay!"
gay!
That was really funny too, because like
Oh, you know what else? You know what else happened? She was clomping on them heels like a goddamn Clydesdale. I was like, yes, I love this fucking movie. Still didn't learn how to walk.
I love how much you like that.
I do.
I love how amused you are by that. That's
Yeah.
excellent.
Did you see the posters behind his or on his bed?
I
I don't know if they were there the first time.
I think
know
there
what
were
was
some
there?
posters.
You know what was there?
No.
Back to the Future.
Oh, nice.
I was like, nice, because they referenced it in the movie.
So I did. Yeah, I did.
Because who the fuck hasn't seen Back to the Future? She goes, what? And he goes, Back to the Future. She goes, oh, never seen it. And you're like, here's the thing. There's plenty of movies I haven't seen where people lose their mind. Like how I didn't see Die Hard till till a couple months
Yeah.
ago. But
Upsetting.
Back to the Future is one of the ones where you're like, it's like Star Wars. You're like, how have you not seen it?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
In the trivia that I read online on IMDb, it said that in the first movie at the end they like go out to that diner and he's like, oh, this was like Groundhog Day, and she's like, what? Never seen Groundhog, like didn't get it. And so in this one they said he made the reference to Back to the Future 2 because it's like Back to the Future 2 where Marty McFly goes back in time and has to kind of walk around the events of the first movie, which is really interesting.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
1 or 2? Back to the Future. Which
2.
one? Really?
Yeah, I like 2
Really?
better. 1 is a classic and it's a perfect movie, but I like 2 better because it plays with the structure of it so much.
Yeah. This is one of the ones where I feel right saying 1.
But I mean, we can
I
all agree that 3 is the best.
But guilty, I want to say 2.
I love 2.
I'm not sure. I'm always tied between Back to the Future 1 and 2. I don't know which one I like more because each time I watch it, I'm like, the first one's classic and the second one has
iconic.
more to it, just like Empire.
The second one, well,
Because-
Empire is just better.
But Empire is better. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's like Empire, but I can pick Empire. I can't pick Back to the Future 2 over the first one. I honestly don't know because I like them on bar equally.
So I think that Back to the Future.
I said bar, but I meant par. But I don't really know which one I'm supposed to say because now that I
Par.
said bar, I like it.
No, par is correct.
On the bar, if you were to put a bar on top of a seesaw, and then you put both those movies, they would balance on bar. They're on bar.
You don't need the bar for that. You know that, right? Anyways.
No, but I want the bar.
Yeah, no, we know you have.
Because you
a
know
beer.
why? Because when you put a bar on a seesaw,
Jesus.
it not only can go up and down, but it can go sideways because the bar is round.
And it can get you drunk.
So can this beer.
That's right.
It's on bar, dude.
That's right. I think Back to the Future 1 is a classic movie, like you said. I think it's.
You're right. I did say that.
I think if we wanted to, we could probably do a whole season about Back to the Future, but I think it comes a little too close when we're talking time travel stuff. But I know a lot of stuff. Honestly, I think if I was gonna make a Back to the Future movie, a keystone movie to talk about in this podcast, I think it would be Back to the Future 2 because it does play with the genre so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we did it, I think we would do Happy Death Day 2 as one of the movies, you know?
Yeah.
Because it...
I have a question.
Yes.
I'm going to interrupt you because I'm bored with what you're having to say.
I was going to talk about Harry Potter.
Okay. So he folds up the paper when Tree's like, what do you mean parallel dimensions? And Ryan's explaining it. He folds a paper, in half a couple times, and he goes, "Well, there's about the multiverse." And she goes,
Says, there's
no.
6 dimensions.
She says 6. That's what I'm saying. Why 6? Why is there 6?
I don't know if that's a thing or not. I don't know if they invented it or
because
if that's like a
when
thing.
he was folding up, I was like, "Oh, a new way to explain it." And he puts the pencil through, and he goes, "So you penetrate all dimensions." And he unfolds and goes, "So you could be in any one of these dimensions." And there's 6. I'm like, "Well, hang on. Why is there 6?"
Yeah, I don't know if that's a thing or not.
That's bullshit, right?
I don't know.
Have you ever been in another dimension?
Several.
Have you been to 6 of them?
No, 4.
No, see, so you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't, and I don't, and
I don't know where Cap's at.
I got a question for you. If Danielle is dating Carter, isn't it even more weird that Tree ended up sleeping in his room?
That's what they keep bringing up of why she was in there, and he says, "You were so drunk, I didn't want you to throw up and choke on your own vomit or whatever."
Yeah, like Janis Joplin. Which is what he says.
Yeah, but it was fishy.
It was weird. It was weird in that dimension.
Although I do like that at one point she goes, "What are you always looking for underneath that desk?"
Yes.
And he's like, "My retainer.
My bike guard.
my
bike guard. It was
so I don't snore."
He's like, I grind my teeth.
And she goes, "Well, there's the end of that mystery." But it was like, what is, because of the first movie and the second one, he's constantly under his desk and he's like, "Oh, you're awake. I folded your laundry." And she's like, "What the fuck are you always looking for?" He's like, "My mouth guard."
I loved it.
Yeah, it was good.
I thought that was great.
It was allowed. But so Tree's in the second day, and she's watching and Danielle comes in like, "Are you ready for the party or whatever?" Like the first movie, and she's watching the news, and they're like, "John Toombs is out," and she goes, "Oh no!" I'm like, why did she think he wasn't going to be?
Yeah.
It didn't make any sense. Why she was so she didn't know that he was going to be alive.
I just remembered my argument for second day uncertainty. It was the second day uncertainty for her was when she goes to the sorority house and Danielle doesn't show up there, and she's like, "That's weird. She should be there."
Yeah.
And then she goes to Lori and she's like, "Where's the cupcake you poisoned?" And she's like, "Yeah."
Oh, you know
it's
what?
when she realizes the dimension thing that it's not the same.
You know what? I'll give that to you. Because you're right. She wasn't certain because it was different. Okay, fair enough. You changed my mind.
That was
because
my second
that's
day
a good
uncertainty
point.
for her. I got a question for you.
I've got something for you too.
For every dimension, if Tree went to the other 4 dimensions that she hasn't been to yet, would there be 4 other people that want to kill her also? Different people? Is she that much of a bitch in every single one?
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
I don't think it's that she's a bitch. I think just people just want to kill her.
Would you be one of the people that wants to kill her in a different dimension?
After watching these 2 movies, no.
Because you love her now.
Because now I love her. That's the thing. This whole movie, I was just like, I'm very attracted to her. Not just because the first movie I'm attracted to her because she's my type. But now I'm attracted to her because I'm like, oh, she's my type. I love her. It's different now. It's not sexual at all. It's sensual. So here's something I realized, and you're going to get mad at me for it.
Yeah.
So she's in the hospital and she's running away from the killer, and she sees her friend Lori,
Johnny Toombs,
and she goes in the elevator and they drop, and obviously he cuts the power, and really also how does anyone know how to cut the power in an elevator? If you put a gun in my head, I wouldn't know how to cut the power in a fucking elevator.
I wouldn't know how to cut the power in a building.
Yeah,
it would take me 45 minutes. I'd be like, "Where's the breaker
I know
box?"
there's switches, but I'd be like, I don't know which one. Shit. So whatever. So it stops, and they
would the cops would have been called and have arrived by the time I found the breaker
So Lori
box.
the power gets cut, and she's like, "Let's get out of here," or get out here, and she opens the elevator with her hands.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, elevators are magical. Because I was just thinking, I'm like, dude, because if you didn't know what was happening, you just you appear at a new building every single time. I think that's so neat.
Are you like
This
a
is one of
medieval
the-
knight?
This
Like,
is one of the
who
times
are
where,
you?
like, yeah, I don't understand a lot about anything. And I'm like, elevators are like, yeah, a very primitive magic.
Are you? Let me ask you a question.
Because every time you press the button, you're somewhere else. That's cool.
Are you the living embodiment
Listen.
of an ICP song?
I understand. Fuck you. I understand that it drops you up and down. But, like, if you close your eyes or, like, take acid, that's a whole new world, man.
Don't you dare close your eyes.
Oh, you and Brian on that song? Yeah, I don't know. Like, I did have a moment where I'm just like, I can't tell Zach about how much I like elevators now because they have that majestic quality.
Is that like from like the freight elevator that we use at the practice
No,
space?
that one's not magical at all.
At Waterson
I can see
Studio.
what's happening with that one. Like, I like that. Like, there's the mystery when the doors close. You're like, ooh, where am I gonna end up?
Yeah, like it might open and you're like in a fjord in
Because like what
Sweden.
happened? Because like most buildings don't have the 13th floor because it's like
That's a
it's
myth.
too majestic.
That's a myth.
It's too majestic. So like if you ended up at the 13th floor, like it might have some things that you're not supposed to see. You know what I mean? Like you just don't know. This is like satellites.
Yeah.
You don't really know.
No, you just tricked me into agreeing with that. I just
No,
said,
I
yeah.
know.
No, it's not
No,
like satellites,
it
you
is.
dumbass.
It's a lot. It's like cameras. How like you're like, oh, all of a sudden there's an image. Like it doesn't make sense.
You
but you
suck.
Get it. Nah, but you get
But
it.
does it
though.
capture your soul is what I want to know.
If I had one, it would.
All right, we have reached the point.
One tree runs off the building with handcuffs. Oh my god, it was so fucking
that was
funny.
very funny. That was very funny.
She's on the top of the skyscraper. Just
Yeah, the school or the hospital.
runs off.
She's running from the dude looking back, and he just stops and is like, "Yep," and she falls.
kills herself.
It's very funny. I like that a lot. So then we reach the point where she's like, "Oh," like she gets with like Ryan and his crew, and is like, "Oh, we need to figure this out." And they're like, "But if it keeps resetting, then we can't retain any of this knowledge to test the variables." And then they're like, "Oh, you have to remember it." So like, in a way, in a very interesting way, she does the same thing that Sarah does in Palm Springs, where she goes and like learns all this stuff to try to like figure out the way out, but she has to like learn all the
Retain it
different
in her
like,
mind.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the hardest fucking study quiz in the
Dude,
world.
I could never do that. I would screw it up so
Oh yeah,
bad.
I would just be like, fine, I'll just live here forever.
Right, and
There's
then,
no
and then
way
it's
I'm gonna
like,
remember
oh,
this.
if she so she
Quantum physics, both of them. Fuck off.
said she says she died 11 times in the first movie. I don't know.
She
if
must
that's
have
true or
died at
not.
least fucking 87 times.
I don't
in
know
this
if
one.
it's true or not. Yeah, in this one she dies so many more times that I'm like, dude, that you just like. I wouldn't remember that the next. I wouldn't be like, oh, it was this. Like I would never remember it on the second day. It would be a nightmare.
You know when I fell in love with this movie? When they did the montage again
Of her killing
deaths.
herself?
And you were just like, because at first I was critical, and then you're like, nope, I love this movie.
It's so good.
So fun.
I did really like the idea of her.
But
I loved her jumping into the mulcher.
no, I
It
know,
reminded
but
me
like
of
why?
Fargo.
But the whole thing is like they're like, oh, she's like, you expect me to get killed every single day? And they're like, well, you could just kill yourself. And she goes, I guess that's the only way. And she does these horrific ways of killing herself.
Yeah,
and you're like,
that are
you
really
could just
funny.
you could just take sleeping pills. Like you don't need to like die
Yeah.
terribly. Like she like. She falls off a building. She does a bungee jump without a bungee or what? I'm sorry.
She jumps out of an airplane
With
in her
no
underwear,
parachute.
which is very funny.
Yeah, jumps into the mulcher. Like all these horror, like
Drinks
hair-
Drano
drinks Drano. God damn, that's awful.
Yeah.
like she does all these
Would feel so bad.
much more horrible ways of than being stabbed to death.
Right.
But it was great. It was great.
It's so good. That montage was excellent.
And then
It's
like
very
when she
funny.
does the not the bungee jump, the skydiving, and she like falls in front of Carter kissing Danielle, and she like flicks off the oh, it's so good.
That was funny. I read that was a reshoot. They didn't have it originally, and they did it in a reshoot, which I thought
yeah,
was
but
great,
she just didn't
'cause it
need
needed
to.
it.
She didn't need to go that painful. But yeah, that's when
Yeah.
I started letting the movie just go. I'm like, no, it's fine.
This
It's
is
fine.
fun. This is a
Just
lot
keep
of
going.
fun. This is a lot of fun. So all right, we've reached the point of the movie where we got to get into it. This movie does lend some credence to your theory of physicality transferring over.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because when she dies, just say it. When she gets electrocuted, she comes back the next morning and
With
her
the
hair
hair.
is frizzy.
Yeah.
When she
goes into the hospital, though, and they can see all these scars and stuff that looks like she should be dead but isn't,
but
which is even stranger.
You know what was not disclosed, and it happened twice. So it wasn't like her hair was frizzy and then like the next day, whatever. She had 2 different pains in the abdomen. The first time she goes in and they don't tell her what it is, and the second time she don't
not
say what it
pregnant.
is. She's pregnant. She's fucking pregnant, bro. This goes back to the fucking like the third episode.
She's not
where
pregnant.
if you get no, I think it was the Happy Death Day. If you get pregnant, does it carry on? And it fucking does. I fucking was right all
she's
along.
not
She's
pregnant.
pregnant, dude. She's pregnant with the fucking professor's baby.
Oh, that would suck.
Yeah,
He's a
especially for the
dick.
end. So anyway, yeah, I was right.
No, I disagree.
Not by the science of this movie. And
No, the
elevators.
pregnancy, I disagree.
Okay.
Elevators.
I love it when she's running around in a like she goes to the hospital because she has pains, like she can't keep.
She spends a lot more time in that hospital in this movie than in the first one.
And she's running around and she steals a gun from this cop. And I literally wrote, could you ever feel more powerful than being in a hospital gown in a hospital running around with a gun? I would feel like I was unbeatable at that
So
point.
as she was running around with the gun, I was thinking like, how does she know like the tactics of like hold the gun up like that and like look around the corners and all that stuff? And then I was just like, oh, it's like our disgustingly violent culture where like every movie is like shows kids how to like clear a room like the FBI, you know? It's like, yeah, of course she knows how to do that. She's watched movies.
Yeah.
Like, although not Back to the Future, obviously.
You're just playing pretend.
Right.
Yeah, but there's no guns in Back to the Future too. Oh no, I'm sorry, except Biff.
There's so many guns.
Biff has one.
So many guns.
And I think it's henchman maybe.
Biff has a henchman? Oh, yeah. Trump Biff.
Yeah, the two guys.
Yeah. Biff Trump. Yeah, I remember him.
So anyway, so her mom's alive in this one, which is a big influencer.
Yeah, and that comes like my next note comes in there.
Mm-hmm.
Would you choose your boyfriend of one day or your dead
I
mom?
knew you were gonna ask. I can't answer this question. I really can't. I honestly,
your boyfriend of one day.
I honestly, no, I know. That's the thing.
Of one
is
day.
I actually like. I know this is a comedy. I actually had a really, really hard time with the parent sequence about the decision of whether or not because I was literally like, I was literally having a psychological like meltdown of like, could I see my parents for one day?
To be fair, to the audience, we should let them know that you just recently started dating a guy, and so that's why you felt so close to this.
I wasn't sure because I don't want to let Jeff go. Like
Jeff Bartlett, is that what you mean?
No.
Oh,
I'd never
okay.
date Jeff Bartlett. I'd fuck him, but that's it.
I bet you would.
No, I mean, nah.
I feel like Jeff Bartlett is
he's too strong. He would fight you off.
He's like made out of wood.
He is. Like I wouldn't want to fuck him. He'd be too rough. With them tight butts.
Every time that I see Jeff now, he just makes jokes about dodgeball. And
he just made one online recently.
I know.
I saw that.
That's like our friendship now is him just making jokes about dodgeball, and we watched it on my bachelor party like weekend, and it sucked. It was really bad, and I hated it.
Yeah.
It's a very bad movie. And Jeff was like, yeah, it is bad now, but you would have liked it when it came out. You should have seen it. I was like, okay, man, whatever.
Jeff's great. But no, going back to it, yeah, she says she has the dilemma of like, do I stay in this universe where my mom's alive, but you relive the same day over and over? So she has that anxiety complex.
Yeah. So she makes the decision that she's gonna stay and be with her mom, and then she goes to like the birthday lunch thing and is like, we got to get the fuck out of here. Just come on, let's go. Let's get as far away as we can. And so they drive.
And they're so cool with it.
They are.
Here's the thing.
Those are good parents.
Here's the thing.
That's what I'm seeing.
I already know the answer. What if you walked up to your parents and were like, hey, I got to get out of town? What do you think they would say?
They'd be like, what are you doing here?
Fuck.
Like, I don't know. Like,
if I went to my parents and said I got to get out of town, they'd be like, listen, we're going to put you
if
in
I met
rehab.
my parents for lunch, Although I don't know, they might go. I don't know. If I met my parents for lunch and was like,
First off, no, they
I
wouldn't.
can't tell you.
No, they wouldn't.
If I met my parents for lunch and I was like, I can't tell you why, but we gotta go now and get as far away as we can, they'd be like, I don't know about that. Like that's the answer that I would get.
Yeah.
Which this was great. So they go far away and they end up like, so she like has the right algorithm and gives it to Ryan and is like, all right, this is what we need to do, but wait, and he has to rebuild his thing because he downloaded porn or something and it put a virus on his computer. So she has all this time now. She goes with the parents and she's like, all right, cool, let's get out of here. They stop at this motel and then she sees on the news that Carter died at the hospital trying to stop Lori
Johnny
getting killed.
Toombs.
Johnny Toombs, yeah.
Johnny Toombs.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
That's your dog. But
God, why would you say that?
it's his name. But so then she sees that Carter died and she's like, oh shit, like Ryan just texted me and said like we're close, we're getting, you know. So she tries to call him to get him to stop and he doesn't hear his phone. So she's like, oh, I saw that substation for the university, so I'm gonna drive a car into it and blow it up to like stop it.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll shut down their thing.
that was kind of like an explanation point, but I guess it was to
Why
because
didn't
she
she
kill
just
herself?
Kill herself.
Yeah,
to reset the day. Why
I
didn't
was
she just
about
kill
to say
herself?
maybe she was concerned that like if she killed herself, the day would proceed till midnight. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think so. Oh, and then she'd just be dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
I mean,
you know.
maybe.
I think it would just reset the day. I think she's immortal, so I think if she killed herself, no matter what, it'll just reset to that
I
day.
thought that. I was like, why don't you just kill yourself? But
Yeah.
then, yeah, whatever.
Which is something you've said before in a different context.
What's that?
Why don't you just kill yourself?
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Oh, boy. So she goes back and is like, has all this like, she has this like revelation of, you know, she wants to be with Carter and she's like, talks to her mom, has this like really great heart to heart where they get like a lot of, you know, she gets like some real catharsis from it. And she's like, you know, would you choose a guy or your mom? And, you know, it sets up this whole thing and the mom's like, no, you got to look to the future. And I think that's where this movie differs from a lot of other time loop movies. And we've talked about this a couple times about like the self-improvement aspect of the time loop movie and how it's all about like bettering yourself and that like will break the cycle sometimes or sometimes it doesn't, but it is all about like self-improvement and becoming a better person.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's not about, it has another like really sneaky positive theme of like letting go of regrets and not living in the past and looking to the future and like how like it'll destroy you if you just live in the past, and that's what she would be doing is like hanging on to the mom that's gone, and she already lost her once. And when she says to Carter, I can't lose her again, it's like, dude, she's gonna die eventually. You're gonna lose her again. You went through that once. You went through that awful time. You lived it. Like, you already did it.
Yeah.
And I mean, theoretically, you're a better person for it, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, you don't.
I don't.
No, I'm just saying, like, she just means, like, I can't lose her again
She can't
soon.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I feel like
of course, like, eventually she's going to lose her, but she just means, like, you know,
she thinks she'll just kill herself and reset again and have another lifetime with her mom.
Jesus.
She's immortal.
Stop it.
It's true.
So when she gets out of this and she finally accepts that she's going to move on, you know, she comes back to the lab, and they set it up, and it's about ready to finish the movie, and all of a sudden the dean comes in with the two guards, and they like
He's wacky,
and they take the program or the little science ball thing, and they just kind of let him. And I'm just like, listen, that was unnecessary. And even
the sci-fi
even right then, I wrote down before I even saw the end, which I still enjoyed, was like, this is unnecessary. This could be the recap of the movie, because basically what they do is they do this whole conundrum where they steal it back.
It was a fun heist though.
Through this zany heist, but it's the same thing 20 minutes later, and you're like, you didn't need to do it. It's almost like they were just adding shit.
Adding minutes or whatever.
However, I will say, even though it was unnecessary, there were some notes I put on where I go, this is great with the heist.
So when Tree is like, after she decides she's gonna go back, and like before the like sci-fi koosh gets stolen, she goes to like talk to Danielle and be like, hey, you know, I was wrong about you. Maybe you're a better person. And she's like, there's a dude in the shower, and he comes out and he's got a towel on.
Yeah.
And he is legitimately
Is
the
that the guy that
person
gets? Is that
I've
the
ever
guy
heard.
that gets killed when he's dancing in the first movie? I was gonna ask you about that.
I'm
Is that
not
Nick?
sure.
Because his name's Nick. Is
I'm not
Is that
sure.
him? Is that Nick?
I wasn't sure. He looked different, but like that
Okay.
was honestly my favorite moment
I
from
think
the first movie.
I think the first movie, the guy's name was Nick, and that's
I
guy's
think you're
name's
right.
Nick. I think
I think you're
that's
right.
the one that you love when
Um,
he was dancing and gets killed.
Yeah, definitely the funniest moment in the first movie.
Yeah, the but later, Tree is holding up the guard, and she grabs the guy's gun and puts it to his head while he's peeing. And they do a funny thing where I didn't expect it, where like he's peeing and she puts
Yeah.
a gun to his head and goes, you know, like you're coming with me or something, or like, you know, like get out of here. And he keeps peeing, and like it.
It lingers.
It's like an Austin Powers pee thing where it keeps going, and she looks down and she goes, sorry about the timing. And he goes, yeah. And then just keeps peeing, and she's like, kind of like, all right, come on, like wrap it.
My favorite part of that interaction
enjoy
is
that.
he finishes peeing and she's still talking, and she goes, "You can put it away now."
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So let's jump to the end, which is we find out who the killer was, which is
the professor
yeah,
who she was having an affair with in the first movie.
which
And
seemed obvious because you did see that like early on
Yeah.
in the movie where like the wife was fighting with the professor,
yeah,
and as you said in the first one, which tested bad, the wife
the wife was gonna kill Tree
Killed
in
Tree in the
surgery
first
because
movie,
she
yeah.
knew about it. Yeah, and this was like an homage to that.
and that was all unnecessary. Like that was stupid.
Yeah, I think they threw that in because it was like
Yeah,
cut
because
out
of
of the
the
first
first- yeah.
movie, and they're like, oh, but it can be in this alternate
So
dimension.
yeah,
so like, okay,
so the
that's fine.
professor is the killer, and then he explains it to Tree and the
Yeah, he does the villain monologue.
in the hospital, and then she's like, "Well, you know, I got you now," and he goes, "Except for this," and then the wife shows up and shoots
Yeah.
the cheating
Lori.
friend. Yeah, like it's just
So what this movie lacked, and this is why
It's
I'm going
murky.
to end up giving it 2 thumbs down, which is our new review system, is because nobody
Huh.
shot an axe out of anybody's hand.
that's a bullshit, dude.
Maybe that was the funniest moment of the first movie. No,
Although
it was
I
the
will
dance
say,
murder.
no, this one redeemed itself when they're in like it's not the X-ray room, like but where they do like
the MRI.
MRI room, and like they turn she like and Tree turns on the magnet, so he gets he get the
like
professor gets sucked against the thing, and she's holding a screwdriver, and he even makes a joke like he goes, "You brought a screwdriver to a gunfight," and he
Yeah.
gets sucked against the thing, so it's a magnetic, so she like lets the screwdriver go and it stabs him and kills him. I love that.
That was pretty great, but I didn't like the Freddy Krueger-esque pun she makes, where she hits the thing and she goes like, "You're screwed, bitch!" Like
Yeah,
it was like,
I don't
oh,
know. Yeah,
oh, okay.
I allow her.
that was a bit much. Like that felt
forced.
a lot. Yeah. All right, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
So, the Ryan from another dimension, not necessarily the one she goes to, ends up in her dimension.
Okay.
She then ends up in a different dimension. Did the tree from that dimension end up in her dimension? Like, where did she go?
I think she wasn't existent. I don't know. I don't want to think about it.
Look,
I don't
I know
know.
how
I
much
don't-
you love time. I know you're a scientist.
I don't. I don't know. I don't know.
I answered that
That's it.
already. So,
Go to tropes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have one last thought. The third movie is either going to be really fun or really terrible. Like that,
Both.
it can't be
It's gonna
anything
be-
else.
No, it's gonna be both. I already know it.
I love that. All right, let's get into tropes.
So the first one we said no. Second one, another character helps them see perspective.
I said no.
No.
Because
No,
she already has her
seen it.
perspective. Ryan didn't need new perspective because he, like, when he learned about what was going on, he was like, "Oh, dust from my machine." Like,
Yeah.
there was no lesson from him except maybe like the
The-
hubristic, like,
the
don't
on-
mess with
The
science.
only way you could fight that is about the mom
Yeah.
to see perspective, but that's not even really no. Not
No,
perspective.
she already
per
had
se.
perspective, you know?
She already knew what to do.
Did you notice our second in this show's series Sisyphus reference?
No.
So that's what the machine is named.
Oh.
It's Sisyphus, and they call it Sissy.
I thought it was just Domebot.
But I thought that was interesting that it was another one, and we had talked about in Before I Fall that like there was finally a Sisyphus reference, which I think is like
Well, we didn't talk about you. Did
really
because
on the
I still
nose.
didn't. If you brought it up for
There's
like
another
15 minutes from now, I'd forget. So.
Okay, no perspective. Second day uncertainty. I said yes for both.
Yeah.
All right, number 4, isolation. I said
No.
yes.
No.
She's in another dimension by herself.
No, because she has people to talk to who get it.
I said yes.
Okay.
For her. Number 5, attempts to explain the situation to an outsider. I said yes for Ryan,
Yes.
and I said yes for her.
Yes to the whole crew.
Yeah,
She has to keep explaining it.
yeah. Number 6,
Takes advantage.
Takes advantage. I said no.
No,
Yeah, no.
not really.
Multiple ways to get to the next day.
Yes.
Breaking the loop with different variables. Yeah, she
Yes.
tries to figure out the different stuff. Yeah. Number 8, gives up selfish ways to break the cycle. I said yes
Yeah.
because
That's fucked up because like now that I'm looking at it, it's 50-50.
So I said yes because she realizes that she doesn't have the memories with the mom. The mom's like, "Oh, these cinnamon rolls. Do you remember last year on her birthday?" And she's like, "No, I don't, because that wasn't me. I don't have those memories because
Correct.
I didn't live that." So like,
Even though there was pictures and she was
Yeah.
looking at and
Well,
adoring them. Like,
and I think what she did is like realize that she is taking that life from the other tree and taking like, "Oh, I lost my mom already, and now she's losing her mom because I'm taking her."
even though she's gaining Carter back, I leave it at yes because she's willing to give up the time with her mother to do what she considers right, which is still the same that you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we're in agreement here.
So 50-50 is what I got.
Wow, 50-50.
It's weird. I did not think it was going to be that high, but then again, I did change one of my answers. Due to you, sir.
Uh-huh.
How you liking these mics?
I love them. I think they're
I was
great.
talking to the audience. How you liking these
Wow.
mics? Hang on. Zach's doing math. He can't do a simple thing like 50-50.
All right, so
Hang on, Zach. If you have
I had
if
5
you have
out of
2
8.
quarters, and then there's 2 other quarters, how many quarters is that out of $1?
I have 4
You have 4 quarters?
out of $1. All right, so Happy Death Day to You is 56.25% Groundhog Day.
Oof.
Still pretty good. Still pretty good. I'm pretty happy that you like this movie so much.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch the first one again,
It's
even though I
it's
said it wasn't
really
going
good.
to.
You know, different director though,
I saw that.
or was it different director? Or
Yeah, it was.
yeah, I thought so.
I can't remember what else he directed, but I did
Nothing.
notice that.
Nothing at all.
So, that being said, one thing that we talked about last week, which we have to re-record,
One thing that we will talk about in last week's episode
is that I'm going to encourage the audience to watch the movies beforehand.
Sure.
Right?
And
So-
I think a lot of people do that anyway. If they're listening to a podcast about a movie, they're going to watch the movie.
Well,
I think Time
didn't know
Crimes
till
for
right
sure. This one, I think I would just say you should just watch it. Like, it's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it.
no, you should watch it because we reviewed it. That's why you should watch it.
Only reason. Not because it's a good movie. Yeah, so go watch 50 First Dates.
Because I told you to.
Go watch Before I Fall.
Yeah, come on, Ben and Eric. Do it.
Yeah, all the other people who are listening to this podcast before it's technically released because I sent it to them.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Good job.
Well, we did it. So next week is going to be our last episode of season 1.
Yeah.
And in case you thought we ran out of time loop movies, we didn't. But we thought 10 movies is a good season, and So that's going to be it. We had a couple. What's really interesting is I had one slated for next week, and then doing a little more research, I saw another one that I thought, oh, that kind of fits a little better. Maybe we should do that one. And then out of nowhere, a movie came out last week on Amazon. And that's what we're going to be doing for next week. It's called The Map of Tiny Perfect Things. So if you've got Amazon, then you should go watch this film.
Because we're going to.
We're going to, and then we're going to chat about it on next week's episode of the Keystone Copycats with Chris and Zach. Did I say the name of the show at the top? I don't think I did.
No, you did. You 100% did.
Oh, boy.
I was going to say we should have a sneaky snack while we're doing it. We should have like cheese and crackers and pepperoni.
So like a Lunchable?
Yeah, but we're going to make it like not homemade. Like I'm going to buy it all, and then we'll assemble it like as we're doing it. And we can eat crackers on
I mean, that
on
sounds
air.
nice, but I don't think people want to listen to us doing that.
Well, then we'll eat bananas. They won't know.
Ugh, but then we have to eat bananas.
Yeah.
I hate bananas.
Let's put bananas on crackers.
I feed my baby a lot of bananas, and I hate bananas.
Okay.
You know, it's just a fact of life.
You know, I don't know what to say, man. Sometimes you need to be serviced by bananas.
Sometimes. And that's what you realize. And so originally we talked about this on last week's episode, but I don't think we'll do it this week. I think...
Well, last week...
What a stupid thing to say.
Last
What
week
a stupid
didn't
way to
exist.
say that. On the original recording for Time Crimes, we talked about this, but I think I'd rather just do it now.
Okay.
So between seasons, what we're going to do is we found this occurrence in film where sometimes two very similar movies will come out around the same time.
Yes.
And like a good example that I always say is like Dante's Peak and Volcano, or
We'll leave it at that.
Armageddon and Deep Impact. Those are two good examples. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these like parallel thought
Comparable movies on the off season.
Yeah, in between seasons, we'll probably do, I don't know, anywhere from 2 to 5 episodes.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
what they'll
Okay,
be.
okay. I was going to say, let's not tell them what they are.
No. I'm not doing that yet. I'm not ready for that. But I think for those, we're going to have some guests, and that's going to be really fun.
Yeah. I can think of a few people that I would like on here.
Ooh.
I think would balance me and you out pretty well.
I think we should only have people that
I
have created.
Yeah.
So, like, we'll have Lucy, we'll have Andy. Maybe we'll get around to Oliver.
I can think of one person that would balance your intelligence and would be annoyed by me, and someone else that would match my lunacy and would bother you.
Wow, this is fun.
So
So
we'll see.
look forward to that. So next week's going to be the last of this season, and then we're going to have a couple fun weirdo in between episodes, and then we'll get on to season 2, which we will announce what that topic is. I think probably on one of the in between episodes. I don't think we're ready to do it next
the
week.
last of the in betweens would be good.
Yeah, I think so
Do
too. So, keep an eye out for that. Follow us on Instagram at Keystone Copycats. And, check out Watterson. Listen to Sinclarity, A Dinosaur's Tale. I think that's it for me. You got anything, buddy boy?
Nothing, just Misery Whip's coming out here the next couple months, and
Oh, do you have a
That's
quick
all.
Misery Whip shooting update? Anything cool? Did a knife
Everything's
fly
going
out of your pants while you were in a fight?
it may or may not have. Yeah, I might make the actual feature as the accidental knife flying out of my pouch on set where we lost it.
That is incredible. All right. For all of us here at Keystone Copycats, if you need any services,
Just get it done.